Welcome to Facets of Affinity, your one-stop destination for all things love, engagement and weddings, sprinkled with a generous dose of sparkle. I'm your host, Irene, and I'm absolutely thrilled to be your guide on this fabulous journey. Join us as we explore the art of popping the question, the joy of saying I do, and everything in between. Welcome to Facets of Affinity. Hello and welcome back to another episode of Facets of Affinity. Thank you for joining us today. Today we are joined with Shayben from Siempre, and we're going to be talking all things wedding photography and videography. Thank you so much for being here today.
Thank you. Thank you for having me.
It's lovely to meet you.
It's a nice space.
Yeah, we're very lucky here.
I do like it.
Yeah, me too. So tell us a little bit about how long have you been in the wedding photography and videography industry?
I have been in the industry for 15 years or 16. 2012 I started.
Yeah.
How
And
many
what
years
were you
is
doing
that?
before that?
I'm
not good with maths.
I've been doing photography and videography for 16 years.
Okay.
But wedding industry since 2011.
Okay.
Actually. Yeah, I started shooting in 2008.
Wow, okay.
Yeah, so I started shooting 2008, and I was doing, how I began would have been nightclubs, I think. That was the first thing.
Oh, you were a club photographer?
Yeah, so that was the first thing I started shooting alongside cars. Because I had a car, so I used to photograph it. And then...
Like for car shows and stuff?
No, not car, just my car.
Just taking photos?
Around the streets, and then I started taking photos of nice cars in the streets, so I used to just walk around and practice, and that's how I kind of just taught myself everything.
Yeah.
I just practiced, took photos.
Cool.
If they didn't look good, I'd Google why, go on YouTube, figure it out.
Blame it on the camera?
No. It's never the camera's
Never
fault.
the camera, okay. All right.
I'll give you 1% of the time it's the camera's fault.
Yeah, okay. So it comes down to user error and skill.
Yes.
And it sounds like you've had a long time to build up that skill, which is amazing.
Yes.
Do you feel like you have a signature style in the way you do things, or do you change that depending on what a client is after, or do you prefer to stay true to...
We definitely have a look. We have a Siempre style that I feel like I developed when we began. That's something that I really believe I've figured out a way to create timeless imagery. If you look at a photo of somebody's wedding that I shot 10 years ago, and then you look at the photos that I'm producing now, they're still extremely similar.
Yeah.
The focal lengths that I choose to use and the color treatment that we use are still very, very similar. If you look at some other people's wedding that I have shot that I'm sure you know, like one of your employees, I shot their wedding, and if you look at her photos today, I can almost guarantee you you wouldn't think that it aged.
No, and it's funny because we were talking off camera and I said how I really liked the colours in her photos. And so, yeah, it's interesting that you're saying that is all intentional and that all falls within your signature style.
Yeah, it's timeless. So the reason why I've created Siempre to be the way that it is that all the boys that shoot, I can process the images the way that I want to, and the way that I do it is to use colours true to life.
Right.
So I'll pick, if a jacket is black, I will remove the blue out of the jacket because the sky might project a bit of blue into it.
Okay.
And if you remove a bit of the blue, it looks more black, and that is true to what you remember on the day. And the same goes for skin tone, skin colors, yellows and greens. For your hair, if you stood outside because your hair's light, the reflection of a tree would actually make your hair look green.
Right, we don't want that.
No, so you would remove the greens out of the yellows.
Okay.
And for somebody like you, if I was photographing you, I would do that. And I would, in the editing process, remove the greens out of the yellows, so that way your hair stays true to the blonde that it is and not look green.
Right.
So it's all in the editing.
So clever.
Yeah.
Not surprisingly, I didn't realise it was quite as involved in that, but so amazing. And I guess it must be nice when people can see a photo and they know it's your work because you stay true to that style. Is that important, that it's sort of like it's synonymous with you, they know that that's your work?
Not necessarily.
No?
It's like not about me. It's not about us.
Yep.
The photos are for them.
Yes.
I don't really care how it looks personally. I'm going to do it the way that I like it.
Yeah.
And I'm going to edit it the way I like it. But the photos are not for us. They're not my memories. I really don't care.
That's
It's for
true.
them.
Yeah.
So if they prefer to be more black and white than color, then I'll give it to them. If they prefer to have no black and white, then I'm not going to give them any black and white.
Yeah.
At the end of the day, these are their memories and their photos for their wedding. So what they want, that's all I care about.
Yeah. And what about where you take photos? Do you have clients who sometimes have a certain vision and you sort of have to explain to them that that might not work, or do you just need to make it work? Definitely.
You always suggest.
Yeah.
You make suggestions, and those suggestions are based on right now.
Yes.
When you're photographing something, you know, the Opera House might be the most incredible place to photograph at 5 p.m. on Tuesday in winter, but at 8 p.m. in summer, it might be horrible.
Yeah, okay.
Or at 12 p.m., the light might be straight on top, and they want the Opera House. So you say, look, we can go to the Opera House. There's nothing stopping us. But the light is horrible and the photos are not going to really look that great.
Yeah.
We can try our best to position you in areas where the sun isn't blaring, but there's not much shade around the Opera House. So if the sun's right on top, it's not casting any shade because the Opera House goes like this. So wherever you put the subject, they're not going to be in shade, which means their eyes are going to be like this. And it's not ideal for the colors as well. You can alter that as well by introducing artificial light and flash photography that would fill in those shadows.
Okay.
But personally, I prefer not to do that outdoors.
Yeah. And speaking of not outdoors, do you always have like a wet weather contingency plan where we could do some stuff indoors?
I've got a good deal with God, and it doesn't rain when I shoot.
Oh.
When we shoot weddings, it's not allowed to rain.
I should have known that.
Yeah.
Because when I got married a million years ago, our photographer's wet weather contingency was Bankstown Sports Club.
Nice.
Yeah,
You
with
can
the
have a
greenery
slap
in
while
the
you-
background.
That's a great idea.
I very quickly organised my own wet weather contingency plan because that was not the vibe.
If you want to have a cigarette and a slap while you're taking your wedding photos, then do it. In all honesty, I have done that once before.
Yeah.
I have.
Yeah.
There was a couple that wanted it. Like I said before, it's not my photos.
Yeah, it rang true to something that was important to them.
It was in a pub after I had already got all the photos that I wanted to get.
Yes.
They're like, do you reckon we can go in and have a slap? And I'm like, do you want me to follow you? They're like, they'd be mad for photos. I go, all right, let's do it. I'm not going to say no.
No, yeah.
It's your wedding and I'm going to photograph it
Yeah.
or film it the way that it happens.
Yes.
If that's what you want to do, then let's do it.
And do most clients go photography and videography
with you? Yes. Yeah. Nowadays, yeah. I feel like we're building a very strong team. We've got a lot of guys who shoot with us now, and it's the reason why we introduced videography to Siempre was because every single client asked for it.
Okay.
So we were photo only for the first maybe 7 or 8 years of running the business, maybe even longer.
Yeah.
Maybe 9 years. And then every client was like, oh, we just want somebody who does both.
Yeah.
So it took me that long to figure out how I wanted to implement it. So at the end of the day, I didn't offer it originally because I didn't know how to structure the workflow where it wouldn't overpower the business.
Yes.
Because when you look at it, photo and video are two completely separate offerings. You have a separate team. There's no difference from offering, flowers. If I just automatically started offering floristry to the wedding, it's like, how are you going to manage that?
Yeah.
It's a completely separate service, separate product, separate editing.
Yeah.
So everything's separate. So it took me 9 years to figure out how I wanted to implement it and how it was going to run perfectly because the photo portion of my business was running perfectly. I didn't want to interrupt it.
No.
So it did take me that long, but I did figure it out. And now our video production is working really, really well.
Good. That sounds like it's been a great addition then.
It has.
Perfect. And is there tell me about some of the things that you love about being in the industry, not necessarily weddings, because obviously you work with other big family moments and events. Is there a few standout things that you love most about what you do?
Photography and videography in general.
Yeah.
I love seeing how happy people get when I provide the imagery.
Yeah.
I learned recently that I require a lot of external validation.
Okay.
And when I walk into somebody's house and I see, one of my photos on their wall, or one of our photos. Also, what we've noticed is that there's a lot of people using our imagery as the last memory of people as well.
Oh, really?
Which is sad, but it's also nice that we could give them that memory. I've had people message us saying, honestly, this is the best photo of my grandfather anyone's ever taken. Thank you so much. We really appreciate it.
Yes.
I get it all the time where people say to me, you won't get a photo of my dad smiling. Or there's no chance you're going to get a photo of my dad looking at the camera.
Yeah.
And I go, challenge accepted.
Yeah. And are they often photos that get taken, they may appear staged or posed, but they're actually taken in really candid moments, and that's why they translate so well, they turn out so good?
Yeah, when it comes to certain people like that, they're always aware that they're being photographed.
Yeah.
If nobody has a photo of them ever smiling and nobody has a photo of them looking at the camera, they are very aware of they know what they're doing and they're hiding purposefully.
Yeah.
And they're able to sort of watch the way we act. So I need to be insanely strategic in how I trick them to smile for a camera.
Okay.
And I'll get them.
Yeah.
I always get them.
Yeah.
And it's a nice feeling when we get the email back saying, guys, I don't know how you did it. I don't know. I don't know how you got a photo. We literally have not one photo, and you got it.
Yeah.
So yeah, I do like that.
And that feedback must be really lovely to hear.
Yeah.
And what about specifically for a wedding? Is there one particular moment at a wedding that's a non-negotiable for you to capture perfectly?
What do you mean by capture perfectly? Because I try to capture everything perfectly.
Oh, and I'm sure you do. But what do you think is the main one that a couple really wants to look back on and think, yes, that moment is exactly how I remember it? And is it the walking down the aisle? Is it the groom watching her come
that's
in?
a big one.
Is it the entry at the reception? Some of those sort of pivotal moments.
I would just call those formal shots, formalities. That you have to get that.
Yep.
Walking down the aisle is compulsory.
Yes.
If there is an aisle to walk down.
Yes.
Family photos are compulsory, regardless of whether the client wants it or not. I just say to them, look, I know you don't want it, but this is not for you. This is for your mum. This is for your dad. This is for your auntie. It's not for you.
Yes.
I personally don't want it until 10 years later. So you don't realize that you want those photos until 10 years later. So you might as well just do it. I'll do it really quickly.
Yep.
Get it done in 5 minutes.
Yeah.
Family photos are definitely a big must, but you got to get them done quick.
Yeah, I know they
because you don't want it to drag.
Yeah, I remember getting do you still go around to the tables and everyone does the cheers?
It depends. It depends on the wedding. Most of the time, no.
Yeah,
nowadays,
okay. Those days are
when I first started, yes, we did that at every wedding, and then now it's becoming a bit more of a traditional thing that most people aren't doing.
Yeah.
If you want it, we'll do it.
Yeah.
But most of the time, people aren't doing it.
Okay, I'm kind of glad that one's maybe being phased.
It kind of eats into your night.
Yeah, it does.
Yeah.
And what about with some of the more modern couples coming through? What are some different things that you're being asked? Are there things that you're being asked to focus on, or perhaps you're recommending that you focus on that's different to maybe what you were doing 10 years ago?
Probably not focus on, more so definitely doing things that we weren't doing before. So utilising flash photography throughout the day.
Okay.
That's something that I never used to do, and now I've started doing because it seems like that's what's trending right now. And on top of that, people want it, they're asking for it, and having that direct flash, I can see why. It's a bit more editorial, it's a bit more fashion focused, and it does look nice. I do agree, it does look nice. It just is really annoying to go back and forth from ambient light to artificial light with the camera settings constantly. Okay. So you are required to work a bit harder on the day.
Yes.
Because you don't want all of your photos to be flashed, but then also you want some. So in order to achieve those looks, you have to change every single setting in the camera. Yeah. And turn the flash on and off.
Yeah. That sounds like a lot.
You have to do that
multiple times.
Multiple times at different backgrounds throughout the photo shoot.
Sounds like they turn out beautiful though, so that's obviously
I do like it.
Silver lining. And you mentioned there about looking like more high fashion or fashion, and it just made me think about, do you reach out to other vendors in any way and collaborate around things like fashion, accessories, what the bride's wearing, the makeup artist. Is there any sort of role where you're all working together? Does that matter? Does it matter?
Not really.
No.
Not really. Those conversations don't happen. They might if there's somebody that I haven't worked with in a very long time and I'll see their name pop up on a run sheet, and I'll be like, oh wow, you're like, I'll call them and be like, you're doing the wedding, you're doing the wedding, oh, that's fine. I can't wait to see you. But it's more about
the
catching up. It's not about the work. The work is something that when it comes to photo and video, each wedding is what it is.
Yes.
It doesn't really matter which photographer you get. It does, but when you think about it, your bedroom is going to be your bedroom. Your church is going to be your church. The clouds are going to be where they're going to be, regardless of which photographer or videographer is going to be there. So the colors and everything that kind of happens is going to happen that way. You can't compare your wedding to anyone else, and you can't look at somebody else's photos and say, I want this or that. Because at 12 p.m. on your day, it's going to look completely different to 12 p.m. on somebody else's day. So the way it looks is just going to happen the way it does. And when you go there, you need to make those adjustments on the spot. You can't plan for much on a wedding day. You can try to, and you can have an idea. But like I said, if you want to take a photo in front of the opera house, or if you want to take a photo in front of a certain building, and then you get there and there's construction in front of it, what are you going to do then? You could have checked the day before, but I've done that before, and there was nothing there, and the next day it was all ruined. And
I'm just laughing because I walked down the aisle at my wedding and there was scaffolding
it happened
at the altar.
They
were repainting.
Is that the Greek church in
was at Belmore? But this was like I said, it's 13 years ago now. And I'm walking down the aisle and I'm meant to be this bride on her, and all I'm focusing on is this
scaffolding. Yeah, we had that at a couple of Greek churches actually, for a long time. It was like 6 months to a year.
And I would have never even thought to ask that question. It wasn't there when, and you can't change it.
No, it is what it is.
Yeah, you just have to go with it.
That's surprising, but that's exactly what I'm talking about. On my wedding, because we got married and had our reception at the establishment, that was when George Street was getting the trams.
The trams,
yeah.
Oh no.
So we couldn't take any photos outside the establishment because it was just proper scaffolding right up to the front door of the establishment. What can you do?
Not much.
It is what it is.
Yeah.
Tough luck, move on and adapt and
do you think you've gotten pretty good with adapting though, because so many things are out of your control when you're photographing a special day for someone? Yeah,
that's definitely one of our strengths, is figuring it out on the spot. You have to. If you're trying to take a photo of a first kiss and somebody decides to stand up and put their phone in front of you, what do? Do you just put your camera down? He stood in front of me. No, you crouch, you lift your camera, you go to the left, you go to the right. You don't give up, and that's a whole part of your job. You have to be aware. And like when you shoot, keep one eye open to look around the room at the same time of, I need to get my shot. That's just what you do in order to prepare for the worst in every situation on a wedding day.
Probably a nice skill to have as well, because I feel like a lot of, especially couples or brides, might not be that great at adapting. I think we often have this perfect idea of the way our day is going to be and nothing's going to change it. And then if you tell us it's going to be different, we don't want to hear it.
True.
But then when it happens in the moment, you have to
come
up
look to the photographer. Fix it.
Yeah, exactly.
I don't know what went wrong.
I said it wasn't going to rain.
Fix it.
Yeah, so it's probably great that you have that ability. Do you come across couples or bridal parties or, at a christening where people might not be comfortable in front of the camera and you have to help them?
Every single wedding.
Really? Yeah.
Yeah.
Are there certain...
99.99% of weddings, everybody hates photos.
Yeah, right.
Everybody's uncomfortable.
Okay. Is there something that you do or say to help people through that, or do you try to...
You just try your best to engage with them.
Yeah.
Like some of my tricks, I just learn about them.
Yeah.
I figure out as much as possible about them prior to even shooting. I'm very good at doing it on the spot. For example, I know that you've got a 5-year-old. I remember that already. Your name's Irene. I know that you're in the sales aspect here, and you've been dumped in the social media section as well to do all of this stuff. So I've learned already as much as I could about you So that way, if I need to use that about in this conversation, I
you
can.
go back to comforting.
And I do that
topics.
on a wedding day. So, you know, some people might need more preparation. I've got
Yes.
a pretty good memory.
Yeah.
And I can remember, you know, one of my tricks is that I will remember every single person's name in the room. So I will go in, I'll say, hey, what's your name? Hi, Irene. Nice to meet you, Irene. And I'll say that about 5 times.
Yeah.
And then I'll go up to the next person. I'll say, hey, what's your name? Carly. Nice to meet you, Carly. Yeah, it's good to meet you, Carly. And then I'll say that again and again and again.
Yes.
And then after 10 minutes, I've memorized everybody's name in the room.
Yeah.
That makes them more comfortable
Sure. Of course.
than saying, hey, bridesmaid, come over here.
Yeah.
Or bridesmaid, can you pick up that?
Yeah.
No, you say, Irene, just can you straight away you're going to go like this. And it's a more welcoming, comfortable thing when you hear your name.
Yes.
And that's probably one of my hidden secrets that's now completely public, is that I will do that not only with the bridesmaids, but also the parents and the aunties.
Yes. All the aunties.
And
That's a lot to remember.
the uncles. Every person that's in the house, I'll do my best to try and remember their names. And they always notice.
Yeah.
And they was, how do you know my name? I
Yeah.
said, because you said it about an hour ago.
Yeah.
And I memorized it. Or if
Yeah.
I'm shooting you and
Yeah.
I hear somebody talk to their boyfriend, he says, hey, Jason, do this. I'm like, okay, that's her
There's a
boyfriend's
Jason
Jason. Her
in that
boyfriend's
area.
Jason.
Yeah.
Okay, yep, her boyfriend's Jason. And then when Jason needs to do, like, Jace, bro, can you just pick that up for me, bro?
Yeah.
He's like, oh, yeah, nice.
Yeah.
How the hell do you know my name?
Yes. Oh,
So
good.
that is a way to make people feel comfortable and they
Good.
immediately are happier.
Yeah. Because you must see it in the photos, right? If someone is not.
Yes.
Yeah.
Definitely.
And you can't. Yeah.
You don't want that face.
What's that smile?
That's
No,
the smile.
stop.
That's the smile on cue.
That's
face.
my 5-year-old. When
Yeah.
you tell
Say
him to
cheese.
smile. Yeah.
Show me your teeth.
You need to not tell them to smile.
No,
Yeah.
you never tell a child to smile. You said, did you fart?
Someone said that to me.
Yeah.
Say farts and they'll laugh
Did
and
you?
you'll get
Yeah.
the best photo. I'm not saying to do that on
No.
on a special
Not-
day,
not on
but
your- not on the wedding
apparently-
day.
Yeah.
You
Maybe at a
can-
christening.
If you ask a bride if she farted, I guarantee you she'll smile. I guarantee you.
Oh, I love that. Okay, let's come away from that topic. Let's talk about pretty things like jewellery.
Okay.
Jewellery and accessories and going to a bride's house or the christening day where you've got everything laid out. How important is it to focus on those accessories, or how important are they to making a picture or a scene? You know, they're small features, but are they
It's-
something
on the
that
body?
you consider?
Yeah, it's important. I think it's
Yeah.
quite nice. I love pearls. I don't know why. But photographic,
photograph well,
they photograph so well.
Diamonds can be hard to photograph, so...
Diamonds are still good.
yeah.
Diamonds are still good, but pearls mixed in with diamonds, pearl earrings, pearl necklaces, pearl bracelets, even pearls on veils,
Yes. Yeah.
pearls on dresses. I think they photograph so well. Whenever I see one, I'm like, yeah, I can do stuff with this, especially in black and white.
Yes.
If you backlight a pearl,
Yeah.
it just looks so cool. Yeah.
Is that ever a conversation that you have with a couple leading up, like in the planning process? Like, what are we wearing? What colour are the suits? Or is that something that happens in the editing process after
Not
the photos
really.
are taken? Okay.
More so, the one question I might ask a bride is, can you send me a photo of you in your dress?
Okay.
That's basically it.
Yeah.
That will give me a good grasp on how big it is, what color it is, the type of white, if it is white.
Yeah.
99% of them are white,
Yes.
but they might be ivory, they might have a bit of beige in it, they might be a bit more like blue. So then you want to counteract that blue because nobody wants a blue wedding dress.
No.
That's more what I would see prior to a wedding to think where I would take them for photos.
Yeah.
So yeah, a photo of you in your wedding dress is a good way to get
That's it,
a
yeah.
gauge. But when it comes to the jewelry, I mean, they're just extras. They're just a bonus.
Yeah.
You know, I've had girls get married without jewelry,
Yeah, true.
and yeah, they look a bit bland.
Yeah, okay.
So that spices it up.
Yeah.
I like jewelry personally.
Yes.
I wear it myself.
Yes.
I always have a cuff on or my wedding ring,
Yeah.
my watch. So yeah, I like jewelry, and I think that it elevates an image.
Yeah. That's a good word to use, important. And how do you keep your creative process fresh? You're obviously very busy. You've got a lot of events, weddings, christenings, corporate stuff going on. How do you keep things slightly different or fresh? Is probably the best word. Where do you look for your
I'm
for your inspiration?
extremely jam-packed with my schedule personally.
I know you were hard to schedule. It's a good thing. It's a good thing.
I'm
So-
extremely jam-packed. So spare space in my mind doesn't really exist day to day.
Yeah.
So for me, I allocate 1 hour, sometimes a week,
Yeah.
sometimes bi-weekly, worst case monthly, to get a massage.
Yeah.
During that massage,
You're still not switching off. You're thinking about it.
well, that's my creative thought process.
Okay. Yeah. When you're.
I will go in
relaxed.
there, put my earphones in so I can't hear anything at all, and I'll put some ambient sounds.
Mm-hmm.
And I actually need it. My body's pretty messed up from my work because I'm constantly hunched over. During the massage, that's where I will picture images that don't exist. And I will picture where I would hope the light was coming from and where I want that light to be cast on the face of my subjects. And then I'll go create it on that weekend. And that's where I get my creative process from.
So actually doing practice runs.
In my brain, yeah.
Yeah.
I don't do it in camera.
No, but
I do it in my head. And sometimes when I'm on the day and I need to get inspiration, I will use my hand. And I'll look at where the light hits my hand. So it hits certain shadows top down from here. But if I come over here, see how it's really dark and backlit? That means
Yes.
the light is coming from this way.
Yeah.
So I'm able to see where the light's hitting, and you'll see me in the city like a complete maniac going like this. And all my clients go, "What are you doing?" And I go, "Trust me, it will work."
yeah.
And I just suss out where the light is hitting, and immediately I think I can tell where I want the shadows to be placed on the face. I sometimes will look at you like this, and I'll go, "Yeah, well, you're going to look better from here. Let's move you over here."
Okay.
And that's where
Don't say that because now I'm going to move my face on the camera. No,
that's where my creative
Yeah.
flow comes from.
Do you think that can be taught?
Yes,
Yeah.
I've taught many photographers how to do that.
Yeah. But how do you think you've gotten to where you are? You've taught yourself with practicing and doing it, or like it's not in a book, right? You don't read how to do this. Is it?
No.
Is it a bit of do you have a natural kind of knack for certain things, and then you build upon that?
Maybe. It could be natural. I'm not a psychologist.
No.
It could be natural.
Yeah.
I have taught people that weren't able to do it before and now they can. So for some people, yes, it can be taught. For others, it can't.
Yeah.
I have tried to teach others several times
Okay.
and it didn't work.
Okay. Yeah.
And even after several years, they couldn't get it.
Sure.
But then, maybe photography is not for them.
Yeah.
But understanding light and understanding the direction of light and where it's falling on the face. Yeah, I feel like if you can understand stuff, you can understand that. You will know that you don't shoot somebody from under their chin. Nobody wants to see under here. This is not a good sign for anyone. You could do it if you go underneath and they look up,
Yeah.
because now they're stretching their skin.
Yeah.
But if you're shooting somebody, you want to be just this much above their chin. So that way, this falls.
Yeah.
And that way you can shoot them just on a little bit of a top angle.
Yeah.
So yes, tall people, you need to crouch a little bit.
Yeah.
I do.
Yeah.
So like I'm 181 centimeters tall.
Sure.
If somebody's 150 centimeters tall, I probably need to drop about 10 centimeters
Yeah.
when photographing them. And then if you have two people who have
Big
a
height
difference, big height
Yeah.
difference, you have somebody who's like 6'4" and a girl who's 5 foot, which does happen, you want to find the balance in between the two people.
Yeah. Okay.
So you're going to make her look a little bit shorter than she wants to look, and you're going to make him look a little bit taller than he wants to look.
Ah, okay.
But you find that equilibrium balance in between the two heads,
Yep.
and it looks like a balanced photo, and then that's where people will be like, "Oh, that's a nice one.
Yeah.
You look good together."
Yeah.
But if you focus just on her, he's going to look like a giant, and then if you
Yes.
focus on him, she's going to look tiny.
Yeah. Right.
So yeah, it's just about balance.
Yeah. Great. Very clever. Have you done much work overseas? Do you get?
Yeah,
go to
we
international weddings?
do a lot of international weddings. Even this year alone, I did 4 weddings in Europe and 1 proposal.
A proposal.
Yeah,
That would have been nice.
yeah, it was Jad from Gogglebot.
Oh, Oh, that was really beautiful. Is it? I should have known that was you.
That was our photos.
Oh, I just saw his engagement too. That looked stunning.
We shot that as well.
Oh, so beautiful. And
Yeah.
the proposal looked amazing.
He's actually working on the engagement right now.
I love that.
Yeah, so he contacted me just by chance. I was going to be in Europe at the same time.
Yeah.
And it teed up, everything kind of aligned, and I flew over and captured that for him. We then did 4 other weddings there. That
All
was
within the same sort of time frame?
sort of. I was
Yeah.
there for 6 weeks, 5.5 weeks.
Yeah.
And it just worked out that we did Puglia, Taormina, Sicily, Florence, and Cyprus. And that was a really cool experience. And that goes back to me just working on my feet. There's so many brand new locations that I've never been to. You have to be good on your feet and figure out how to shoot here right now.
Yeah. Completely different to shooting in Sydney in the spots that you're used to shooting.
Yeah, because I know in Sydney, if we rock up to a place where I want to take photos and there's a full bridal party already there, what do? Well, I know about 10 other locations that we can go to.
Yeah.
So it's all right, jump back in the car, let's go here. Or I might know the team that's working on that job, and I was like, hey guys, like, you're right if we shoot here and you shoot here, and then we swap. And it's just like mutual respect within the industry.
Yes. Yeah, but it's a bit different when you're in Cyprus and you're sort of like, okay, I need to find...
Definitely.
Yeah.
And then you have some old, yaya that's standing there with her walking stick that refused to move. But they add to the photos. I actually got a really good photo of our bride Natalie in Cyprus, where this guy was driving an old bashed up ute. And I was taking photos of her, and he just rocked up and just left his car right there, and she's here. And I'm just like, what's up? And he's like, just staring at us. I was like, you know what? This is a great shot. Stay there. Cool. And I had her full pose on his ute like this. Yeah. And he's just standing there. He's got so much character in his face. Yeah. I think it was a cool photo.
Yeah. So no matter how much planning you do, sometimes you've just got to take those.
You got to wing it.
Yeah. Awesome. That must be so fun being able to go overseas and work on those.
We do a decent amount now. Yeah.
I see it here as far as proposals that I know are happening overseas, and then destination weddings and the planning behind that. And most couples are using photographers who are Sydney-based overseas. They're not using photographers at the location.
Yeah, I mean, it does help to have photographers there as well.
Yeah, so that's what I would have thought.
Like we reached out to some people overseas and they helped us.
Okay.
It's good for help.
Yeah.
If you need another set of hands on tripods and stuff for video. For video, it definitely helps a lot more than photo. As long as you have a good photographer, like a really good photographer, like a Siempre photographer.
Noted.
One can handle it.
Yeah.
It's definitely helpful to have 2, but if you're good enough, you don't need it.
Yeah, sure.
Whereas for video, it does help a lot more.
To have an extra set of,
Another set of hands for extra angles, it definitely helps more.
Yeah.
We got some people overseas just to help out.
Yeah.
And they did great.
Great.
Just make sure that the camera's still rolling.
Yeah. That's important.
Even if they just stood there the whole time and you're on the other side of the church and you just look at him and you go,
you good?
And he goes, you go, yes.
Great. Perfect.
Better than you walking over to check the camera.
Absolutely. Yeah. It's the little things that definitely makes sense. And the wedding industry, I don't know if it's post-COVID or if we just keep using COVID as an excuse, but
COVID, I feel like, is a time of life.
Yeah.
We're
never going to stop.
When you say before COVID or post-COVID, it's like a time of life. There's a 2-year period where everything went to shit.
Yeah.
And everybody kind of remembers.
From it.
Yeah.
But I just
like the
feel
interest rates right now are because of it. Spending, everything that's gone wrong.
Weddings on a Thursday are because of it.
Yeah.
I just feel like couples are finding that they need to book things for like more in advance because things are really booking out, and there was a bit of a backlog in the beginning post-COVID and things being moved. With how much time are couples reaching out to you to book? Like how far ahead are you booked at the moment? Are you booked into 2026?
No, 2026 is, we've got a couple bookings, but it's not insane. I think that the backlog has become somewhat normal again.
Good.
And the planning process has also become somewhat normal again. I feel like it's all dependent on the age of the couple.
Okay.
Truly.
How?
If they're older, they want to get married quicker.
Oh, fair enough. Yep. So then, yeah, they want you
If
in
they're
3
younger,
months.
they got time.
Yeah, okay.
So if you're 38 years old, you're going to get engaged and you're going to get married within 6 months.
Yeah, okay, right.
Sometimes a year.
Yeah.
But usually if you're plus 35 to 40, the planning process is simplified.
Sure.
And then if you've got heaps of time and you're 23,
Yep.
they will do the 2-year engagement.
Yep.
I think it's still roughly a year.
Yeah. So as soon as a couple knows they're engaged and they're getting married,
They
they
start
should start
planning.
reaching out, really.
Yeah.
And what's that process like? How do people get in contact with you?
On our website, we've got a contact form and just fill it out. You don't have to have your wedding date 100%,
Okay.
but it does help. That's usually the first thing, is
Yep.
booking the day that you want to get married. Once you
Yes.
have that date, you can book everything.
Yep.
You just fill out our contact form. We ask a couple questions in there, majorly being the date.
Yes.
Once that's locked in, we then assign shooters and Bob's your uncle.
And what do most couples walk away with? I keep going back to my wedding, but it was so long ago and it was all about the album.
Yeah.
Are we still doing the album, or is it more people want just digital copies of photos, printouts? What do you do mostly?
Definitely we still have an album.
Yeah, okay, good.
It's definitely still there.
I
I'd
like
say
it. I like that tangible.
70% of people are still opting to get one.
Okay.
It's not compulsory with any of our packages anymore. We changed our packages recently
Okay.
due to the interest rates.
Right.
We have structured them in a way so that people can still book Siempre with how much people are struggling right now.
Yeah.
So the idea is we're giving you the essentials, and if you want more, you can have more.
Sure.
But the essentials is what's important, as the one thing that you cannot get back is the coverage.
Yeah.
So the coverage, right now you can only afford the coverage. So let's get that done, solidified, provide you with the coverage.
Yep.
And then if you want an album later on when you've saved a bit more money, or if the interest rates go down
Yeah, you're
and
under
everybody's in
less
a
pressure.
more comfortable position, we'll make you an album then.
So that is an option.
Definitely.
Oh, okay. That works really nicely. That's
Yeah.
very mindful.
But that's why we did it that way. So we don't kind of force you into anything now. We're trying to work with everybody's current budgets based on the economy.
Yes.
And that way we can look after more people and make sure that, you're happy with the end product.
Yes. And that's really important, that the client is happy with the end product,
That is
obviously.
all that
Is that the
matters.
ultimate goal?
Yes, with a business owner
Yeah.
who has chronic anxiety, having happy clients helps a lot.
Yeah. It sounds like you have a lot of happy clients, so...
Yes, I have to. That's how I sleep.
Yep.
If there's a problem, I have to fix it,
Yeah.
and then I can sleep.
And then you can sleep. I'm sure you don't have that many problems. Your work's beautiful. Well, thank you so much for being here with us today. It was great to chat.
Thanks for having me, Irene.
Thank you for joining us for today's episode of Facets of Affinity. We hope you'll join us in our future episodes where we delve deeper into all things love, engagement, and weddings, sprinkled with a generous dose of sparkle.